If you're a wedding pro and you're not blogging, you're leaving one of the most powerful marketing tools on the table. And I know you're already juggling client work and editing and emails and approximately 17 other things all at once. But here's what makes blogging different from every other marketing channel that you're probably already exhausted by. You write it once and it keeps working for you. One blog post can bring in search traffic and inquiries long after you've published it. And in fact, if you do it right, that's the expectation. And that's the kind of marketing that you definitely have time for. So today I'm going to show you exactly how to make blogging work for your wedding business. Hi, I'm Taylor, one of Enji's co-founders and a small business marketing consultant. And if you haven't heard of Enji yet, it is the only marketing project management tool that brings planning and doing your marketing together. And first, let's talk about why blogging is worth your time. Because couples are doing a ton of research before they ever hit send on an inquiry. They're Googling venues, they're looking for photographers in their city, they're trying to figure out what everything costs, and now they're asking their favorite AI chatbot for recommendations too. And your blog is how you show up in these searches and have the opportunity to say, hey, I'm the person that you're looking for. Blogging also helps you build authority because when you write about timelines and design trends and venue logistics and budgeting, you stop being just another vendor with a great portfolio and you start being a trusted expert. Blogging also boosts your SEO because every blog post is another door into Google from your website, and more doors create more opportunities for couples to open them and find you first. And let's talk about showcasing your work with an actual context, because Instagram is great for pretty photos and sharing little snippets about who you are, what you do, and why you are better than someone else. But your blog is where you can really tell the story behind those photos. You can really get into it. Like, what was it that the couple wanted? How did you pull it off? What made the day feel special? Because that story is the one that makes someone think, I want to hire that person. Plus, this one is my favorite. If you have ever answered the same questions from potential clients or current clients like 5 times in 1 week, that is a blog post waiting to happen. So you can write the answers down once and then share it over and over and over again without having to retype the answers to that frequently asked question. Okay, so let's talk about now, like, what are you actually supposed to write about when you're trying to blog as a wedding pro? Because this is where a lot of people get stuck. There's almost a seemingly endless number of possibilities. And my advice is for you to start with 2 simple questions. What are my ideal couples looking for on the internet? And what do they keep asking me? And from there, you can turn those questions into topics. And here are some examples, like, what's the best outdoor wedding venue in your city? Or how do I create a wedding day timeline for the venue type and wedding? Or what are 5 things that couples forget to budget for? Each of those can become keywords and phrases that you weave naturally into your title and your headings and throughout your post. And things like outdoor wedding venues in Denver or wedding budget tips for Nashville couples. Those become really great blog topics. The key here is thinking local and about the things that people might actually be typing into a search bar, whether that's on Google or within a chatbot. Because your couples are often searching with location and very specific things in mind. So your keywords should reflect that. And really, nowadays, the questions that you get, those are the keywords now. It's not really short things like Philadelphia wedding planner. But you don't need to stuff the keywords everywhere. Remember to just use them naturally as they fit. And once you've picked a topic for your blog, you want the post to actually get found. That's the whole point of this. And the good news is you don't need to become an SEO expert, nor do you need to hire someone to do this for you. That being said, you absolutely can invest in those services and that education, and I advise you to, but you can do your own SEO. And anyone who tells you otherwise, that's a red flag. So the basics of doing your own SEO, it's really just about doing a checklist of things consistently with all of your content. And so here's a quick rundown. You want to use your main keyword in the title and naturally throughout the post, like I've already talked about. You also want to include your city or region or service area so that you show up in local searches, because let's not forget about that. Then you want to rename your images before you upload them to something like fall-wedding-ceremony at venue name.jpg versus image 1234. That actually doesn't tell Google anything. And then another really great best practice is to add internal links to related posts that are across your website on key pages, things like your service pages, your service page, or maybe even your inquiry form. And that's really it at a super basic level. And doing these things with every post, if you do that, you're ahead of the game in terms of what most of your competitors are doing. So now let's connect the dots between content that gets found and content that actually converts the reader into a formal inquiry. So first, you want to talk about what are things that your past clients have actually said, like almost whenever you can. So instead of just describing the day, let your past clients say what it was like. You know, something like, Sarah told us that having a planner meant that you actually got to enjoy your cocktail hour instead of worrying about the timeline, and that actually happened. Now, yes, that's a super high level example, but copywriting on the fly is what I came up with. That's what I came up with. But you want to include those mini testimonials inside of your blog to make sure that your reader goes, oh, I want to have that experience too. Another thing that you can do is feature and link to all of the vendors who were a part of making that day possible. Because when you post a real wedding blog, you want to list the photographer, the florist, the venue, the caterer, all of the people, including yourself. And honestly, it's just the right thing to do in terms of wedding pro etiquette, because those vendors all played a big part in the day, like I said. And when you do that, you are creating an opportunity to incentivize them to just want to share your post because they've got a backlink in it, which in the end turns into more traffic into your site and more couples seeing your blog. Also, you should try to get them to do the same. This is good digital PR in the age of artificial intelligence, but more on that another time. Another thing that you want to do is make sure that your posts are easy to read. Write short paragraphs, have clear headings, use simple language, and because this is important because your couples are likely reading this, scrolling on a phone and maybe in between meetings, right? They're not here to look at a wall of text with no breaks that kind of is exhausting in a lot of ways. In the end, you want to aim for about 1,000 words when you can, because this gives you the room that you need to use those keywords naturally and actually answer the questions in depth. And that's how you actually get to the point where you are demonstrating your expertise. And I know that 1,000 words sounds like a lot, but this is where having a little help goes a long way. Which brings me to the question that I definitely know that you're wondering. Taylor, how often do I need to blog? And you don't have to blog every week to see results, but you do need to blog consistently. So my advice is for you to aim for 1 new blog post every month as a baseline, 2 if you can swing it, or 1 new blog and 1 updated blog. But the real secret here is batching your time, because I know that you have a slow season, so use it to sit down, outline a bunch of blogs, and write them all in one fell swoop. Block a day, write 6 blogs so that you can schedule those out for the next few months. That way, when busy season hits, you're not trying to scramble to write that next wedding blog at midnight. Your content is already queued up and ready to go and ready to do its job. So I've popped into an Enji account because I'd love to show you exactly how Enji helps you plan your blogs, draft your blogs, and repurpose your blogs into social media content. So in this example, I've got a monthly recurring task that on the first Monday, Enji's gonna remind me, hey, it's time to publish a new blog post. And so let's pretend that it's September 7th and that is my task for the day. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and add a blog to the calendar. And if I needed ideas of a topic, then Enji can help generate ideas for my business that are customized to what my business is as a wedding pro, regardless of what type of business you have, whether you're a venue, a planner, a photographer, etc. But if I know more specifically what topic I want to blog about, I can just go ahead and type it in here. And for simplicity, we're just gonna go with something simple. Wedding flowers, okay? So the best practice here would be to write out a full outline, or not even a full outline. Just give Enji's AI copywriter some directions so that it doesn't just have to pull from the general knowledge that's on the internet. And the good thing is that Enji already knows your brand voice, so I don't even have to prompt it with that. I just need to give it an outline and then hit draft a post from this outline. And then Enji's AI copywriter is gonna get to work and start drafting out the content exponentially faster than I ever could as a human, right? It's not physically possible to draft a blog this quickly, but Enji's AI copywriter is doing this for me, which saves tons of time, because to write a draft like this from scratch would typically take someone 1 to 2 hours. Well, if you're not someone who likes to write, probably more like 3 to 4. But now you can see that I've already got my blog drafted. And now really all I need to do is go back through here and make my revisions to really make it my own. But the other thing that I wanted to show you before I go back to showing you how to plan your blogs, because I realized that I skipped that part, is the repurposing tool. So now that I've got this blog here in Enji, I can use the repurposing tool to let Enji turn it into the social media content that I want. So let's say I want 3 Instagram posts, 3 Facebook posts, and 3 pins, and I don't want any of these. Then all I need to do is hit create social media, and Enji is going to create 9 unique pieces of content and drop them on the calendar, so that then all I need to do is add media, refine the captions, and schedule them to go live using Enji's social media scheduler. So back to the planning. Let's say that you're someone who works a little bit more like me and has a content planning day on your calendar. So every month you're like, I'm gonna sit down and I'm gonna do my future self a favor, and I'm gonna plan things out so that by the time that it is like, hey, I need to write a blog post, I've already planned it out. So what you can do then is you can drop what I call sort of like drafts or dummy posts on your calendar. So let's say I'm really ambitious right now and I'm blogging once a week for the next few weeks. So I've got those on the calendar. Then what I can do is I can sit down and I can think about, okay, what's the topic? And then let's, again, because we're talking about simple things that I can type and talk at the same time, let's say that's the topic. And then I go and I do a little bit of SEO keyword research, and I know how to bake a cake is the SEO keyword, right? So I've told Enji this specifically is the keyword that I want you to use. And then I go in here and I type out my outline, right? Here's my tip, here's my tip, here's my tip, blah, 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 blah. And then I could walk away from it and leave this for future Taylor to come back to use the AI copywriter to draft and then repurpose. But that's what I wanted to show you, because as a wedding professional, I know that you have not a lot of time to get this done, but that blogging is such an important piece of marketing your wedding business. Blogging doesn't have to be this mysterious, overwhelming, I'll get to it someday project. Because when you pick strategic topics, you optimize your posts, you tell real stories using local keywords, your blog becomes an engine that quietly markets your wedding business around the clock, because you do the work once and it'll keep paying you back. And if you want help getting started, Enji has a whole suite of marketing tools built specifically for wedding pros who need to make sure that their marketing gets done. You can start a free 14-day trial at enji.co, or I've got the link down in the video description. And if you found this helpful, give it a like. It helps more wedding pros find it. And drop a comment and tell me if you're currently blogging, or is this something that you are kind of putting off? Because I'd love to know where you're at. And if you have any more questions, we can brainstorm ways to help get you started.